Welcome back. Growing up on the remote James Bay Coastal Reserve of Moose Cree First Nation, Scott Wabano struggled with his two-spirited identity and was often bullied as an outsider. Flipping through fashion magazines was how he coped and escaped. Now Wabano is taking on the fashion industry as a model, a stylist, a designer, an owner and creative director of his own brand of genderless streetwear. And we welcome Wabano to CP24 Breakfast. Scott, it's a pleasure. How are you?
Wache, everybody. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
We're awesome. I mean, what a resume you've already constructed for yourself at such a young age. You design, you style, you model, and we know there's not a lot of Indigenous representation out there in the business. So, Scott, how does your First Nation legacy and your appreciation, your compassion, your connection to the natural world and to all of creation, how does that fold into your couture and your crusade?
Well, I always like to say I'm Indigenous, I'm Cree, I'm EU'd from the Cree Nation of Waskaganish before I start anything off. But as a Cree person, I feel like we always live our life by Mio Pimatiswin, which means the good life, which means we are never taking more than we need. We are always thinking of our future generations. We are thinking of our community. We are thinking of our relatives, which includes Mother Nature and all of the living creatures that she provides. And, it's just something that is always ingrained in us. As Indigenous people, we've been leaders in sustainability and innovation for generations now. And sustainability is how we really live our life. And, it's one aspect we always consider whenever we are, going out on the land or creating our clothes, creating our art. It's really important for us to be sustainable and in order to preserve our living things and relatives for future generations to also enjoy.
You accepted your gift and the love of fashion, and you sort of punched your ticket from the territories to Toronto. That was a big step. That took a lot of guts. But now you've got this rocket ship career. It must be sort of pinch me sometimes.
It's definitely something I really didn't picture my life, but I also kind of did at the same time. I didn't see much Indigenous representation within the industry, so it really did interfere with if I was even gonna be able to do what I'm doing right now. But it also gave me that motivation and that drive to increase the Indigenous representation and increase the Two-Spirit representation within this industry as well too. So we could better reclaim back our narratives and our role within society as well.
Absolutely, and you've partnered with a number of huge corporations like Nike, IKEA, Sephora to bring more Indigenous voices to their brands. You're also very active on socials. These seem to be means to an end. What is that end?
Well, I just want to, flood the fashion industry and the whole mainstream industry with Indigenous presences, Indigenous voices, Indigenous designers, Indigenous models, Throughout the longest time, we've had so much Eurocentric beauty standards.
Absolutely.
Emphasized within mainstream society, and we never got the chance to see the beauty of Indigenous peoples and our history and our languages and our stories. So now I think it's the perfect time for all of us to rise up and reclaim our stories and better share our narratives, better share our artwork, better share our presences and our voices within the industry that we've been systemically excluded from for generations now.
Beautifully said, beautifully stitched. Scott Wabano, you are a fashion-forward individual. We're so proud of you and happy that you are based here in Toronto. Good luck going forward, and we'll be hearing a lot from you, okay?
Miigwech for having me. Thank you, CP24.